Wow, look at that, we're live already. That was quick. I'm going to pop this out to everybody else in just a second. I'll be right back. All right. Here we go. So, this arrived in the mail today, and it's a, let's call it a promo copy, right? David was kind enough to send me a copy of this to have a look at. Welcome to the first viewer. Please don't be that guy that is the first viewer that always downvotes the video and leaves. And I thought it would be fun, subject to my battery capacity, to walk through this tome and see what's in it and see what's different. And if I was a smart guy, I would grab a set of the 4.1 or 4.0 rules and we could do some side by side, but maybe that's something for another time, and I'll show you inside why that's the case in just a minute. So lock and load tactical, if you don't know, and I apologize for the air conditioner background noise. These are the core rules, and originally when it was very first published, everything was in the one rule book, and then under new ownership it was split up to World War II, and then post World War II core rules, and then there were module rules as well, and both owners had module rules. And now I think the Lock and Load Publishing has wisely reconsolidated everything, but also taken enormous lengths to clarify a lot of the soft or fuzzy wording that is prevalent in the 4.0 rules, for instance. And then also gone the next level with some additional stuff in here that I'll share with you in a sec. But first of all, you know, this is a Manhattan. It's made with Michter's rye, and it's freaking fabulous Ramazzotti Amaro, or Amaro, depending on where you're from, and of course some bitters. All right, so let's, the first thing first, it's a spiral bound edition, and I think that's a wise choice because I've seen some of the rule books from Lock and Load and Lock and Load Publishing. They've done the glued spine, and they tend to A, not stay open well, and B, depending on the climate you live in, not survive terribly well either. They tend to start to fall apart if you're not careful. All right, so without further ado, first thing we see, and let me just make sure that because I'm looking at the rules with you, so let's just make sure you can see okay. If you can't, please make a comment, and if you've just joined, say hi. That would be nice so we know who we're dealing with. So, and all these comments are extemporaneous. We are not, we have no prepared comments here, and I will be giving you my unfiltered opinion as I always do, and you'll just have to deal with that, be it as it may, and we'll kind of work through it together. So the first thing you notice here, and I'm just trying to see what the color, if the brightness is, hey Tony man, how you doing? The brightness is enough for you. For some reason it's gone a little bit darker, but maybe that's just my screensaver. So each concept has a different color. So Laying Smoke has a green hex color, orange for Malay. Interestingly enough, orange for admin phase as well. Fire Combat is red. So you see that you'll be able to find those easily because when you look in the rule book, if I can show you here, you can see that those colors change on those pages there. See that? So that's a nice, nifty little user interface thing that I find particularly useful. I'm all about, as we get into being more mature wargamers and players, all about making the games that we play more accessible And I think that's one of the key strengths from Lock and Load Tactical. I was talking to David Heath today, actually, and he was asking me what I thought of the rule book, and I really hadn't had much of a chance to look at it too much yet. But I said, he said, you know, I can't claim to have the best squad-based tactical system in the world ever, but I can have, or try to have, or strive to have the best rule book, the best support, the best supporting materials, the best formatting, etc., etc., etc. So I respect him for wanting to, you know, do more for us and make the game more consumable. So let's see how we go here and go forward. So we've got a very extensive 1, 2, 3 page index. Now you will note there are 273 pages in here, but much of it, as we'll see, because I've had a quick skim through it, is there's 50 pages of narrative and other bits and pieces, gameplay narrative and stuff like that. Let's just not freak out. I kind of freaked out because the old rule book is 40 pages and I know it like the back of my hand most of the time. All right, so great descriptions of every type of counter that you will probably ever encounter, and I think that's smashing. You've got single man counters here with all the details outlined. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see both pages. And if you have questions, by all means post them, and there is a delay, so I may need to go backwards and forwards here. A wonderful, detailed, finally, explanation of the details on the vehicle counters, because they're pretty involved. You've got your MGs, you've got the number of times that your main armament can fire, you've got your HE equivalent firepower, you've got your movement rate, your morale, you've got the unit type, how many people it could carry, front, flank, and rear armor, your depletion number for ATGMs, and it goes on and on and on. So, and some vehicles have a lot of capabilities, and these counters get busy, and it's nice to see this laid out. Okay, another vehicle page here, some more examples, weapons teams, and support weapons. And can you guys see okay? If you can't see, let me know, because I can change the background. I can put this on a white background. It seems like it's dark. I don't know. Oh, hey, David, how are you doing? Mr. Heath is here with us. Maybe he can answer questions. Yes, so Tony, this does cover both modern and World War II. It's all in one rule book. As you can see here, we can see a A10 and a D3A Val, right? So Japanese aircraft. It's covering the full gamut of all the equipment that you would need to play anything basically from World War II all the way through to hypothetical World War III. And indeed there's also Mogadishu and the Falklands and Vietnam and a number of other things. So there's some introductory stuff here, and designer notes and developer notes are spread out through the rules. There are extensive introduction sections that explain what a squad and a half squad is and all this sort of stuff. So that was all not really readily apparent in the original rules. So, and I'm not going to dig into explaining the rules to you here. There are dozens of fantastic videos that the Grumpy Gamer has got, and you'll see in the back of this rule book. There's a link to all that. So it's very, very, very nice. And you'll also have an audio book of the rules being made available at some point in the near future as well. So talks about morale. And now what I was going to share with you in terms of whether I should grab one of the older rule books and bring it down here in blue. So for instance here, right, I'm going to zoom in on this. Here I can see this is content that is not in the original rule book, and it may be clarifying text or new interpretation or validation or exceptions to a given rule. Very nice. And then the red is obviously, I forget what the red is. Yeah, examples, right? So there's that, and of course the developer designer notes are all in that in boxes and stuff like that. All right, so we're going to keep going. Explains support weapons. You know, support weapons were literally this much rules in the original rulebook, and now you've got a full 2 pages, maybe 2.5 pages, maybe even 3 pages of these rules in regards to all the different things that can occur with specific types of weapons. So for instance, when we look at jamming, you may say, oh my gosh, don't tell me it's so granular that jamming happens. Well, only certain types of support weapons have jamming, and it's a function of either the nationality, the situation, or the weapon type. And so in the Falklands, for instance, there's an opportunity for jamming just because of the weather conditions. I believe that was one of the criteria there. And you can see this, it notes there's a white circle around the J on this particular counter. And so you can see, hey, this guy's jammed or has potential to jam. And so whatever the rule is for jamming, you'll read that. It's a result of a 1, I think, or something like that. It'll be jammed for the rest of the scenario. Some of them that you can clear, depends on the scenario, rules, etc. So carrying on, zoom back out. Got another question here. Hey Kyle, how you doing, man? One rule book for everything. Yeah, I was not a big fan of the split of breaking up the 2 rule books, Kyle. So I preferred one rule book, because while this is a large tome, in the past it was not that big a deal, because everything is the same except for some of the artillery, aircraft, and helicopter rules. Pretty much everything else was the same, but here now we can get all the weapons, all the support weapons, all the weapons teams, all into one clearly indexed and organized and well-structured rule book, and it works for me. Mortars, the whole shoot and match, so lots of stuff here, right? It's going through all the different types of weapons and the different ways they can be used, and how weapons teams work, and how these items will work when they're captured or when they're used in melee or whatever the case may be, right? So outline of play, the rally phase, some more explanation here. You can see additional new text, right? Self-rallying units, some great examples. So you can see here, this is a large font too, by the way. I would call this maybe 12 point. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, David. I don't know what the exact font size is here, but it looks to me like it's about a 12 or a 14, probably a 12. There's 2 paragraph-based examples. Now, haven't played this system probably in excess of 100 times. I'm not going to need to read the examples. You may want to do that if you're a new player. And the idea here is to make this game so readily, easily, and consumable, usable with some of the play aids and all the rest of it, and the rule book, that you'll read these rules, see the examples, start playing the game, and get after it, right? And you shouldn't be digging back into this too much after that. All right, so lots of examples. Ops complete markers talks about what that is, talks about how to do firing and all the different types of firing, fire combat we're going to have here, what the leader's influence on firing is, which was always a little bit of a unclear situation, the way the rules were worded in the past. Great multiple examples in here as well, okay? Explains casualties, what happens to officers, what happens to heroes, what happens to units that are shaken or take casualties, etc. Lots of developers notes through here, so you can see how. So for instance, this in the original rulebook, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages for fire combat. I think it was about half a page. I could literally, if I really wanted to be exact. I've got a copy of the 4.0 rules above me, but let's not get into a comparative mode here, and let's just focus on what we have. Oh shoot, we got a bunch of comments here. Let me see. No, this is how it comes, Jason. Let me edit 12 point font. I called it. Excellent. Bill, good to see you. And the spiral bound is really nice, Mike. It's working really cool. I'm just trying to scroll back up here. One rule book to rule them all. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. Movement, once again, clarity on this stuff. There's very few changes to the core rules. One of the things I was concerned about was that, given that there was a substantial number of pages, is that some of the folks that are new or relatively new to the system would have their sway or influence on, and I'm going to use this in air quotes, on my tactical system, right? But fortunately, the publishers and the owners have not listened too much to some of the, oh, it needs to be more like ASL people. So, and we'll get to some of those changes in here if I can find them readily. I know where one is in particular. So we're going to keep on going here. As you can see, it talks about stealth movement and all the rest of it. Hit and run movement. And laying smoke. So this is a new rule, not a new rule. A clarification and an amplification. And what is going to happen here is when you basically attempt to lay smoke, you will not be marked ops complete. You will be able to move, but you'll have one less movement point. So that's a nice a nice way to handle the smoke challenge, which is why I never used it, because once you used smoke, you couldn't do anything. You were done for the turn except for op fire. So, all right, melee combat. Now melee, I mean, there's a lot of additional wording for melee. Yeah, it's the Kev, it's the KTS, it's the Kev tactical system. Oh no, who just said that? Itinerant, you're such a, I nearly said something inappropriate. You're such a tool. I know exactly what you're doing. Oh wait, look, he said 3 times. Melee combat, lots of blue text in here. So you may think, oh, have they changed melee? Well, no, they have not. Or as some people call it, melee. This is just clarification, right? This is point by point. So for all those dudes you play with that are super nitpicky, there it is, right there. This shit is easy, guys. It is not a hard game. The fact that all these examples had to be written, part of me just kind of goes, really? But look at this, melee example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 melee examples for you. So without any question, I do not want to see any more questions on Board Game Geek. Right, okay. 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 examples. Amazing, amazing detail. And all done in a conversational style too. And I think that is probably adding to the wordiness here, but it's a good conversational style. It's not that rambling kind of, and then, well, if you think about it, you could do this. It's more specific. So they've done a fabulous job from that perspective. You can also reinforce melees. I'm sure all you lock and load boys and girls know that. I love me some 0-5. I don't know. Now, who are they? Who are these? That's got to be some sort of partisan unit. There you go. Also note that superscript M units, love those guys. They get bonuses in melee, +1 of their firepower. Cavalry charges, line of sight. Huge contentious issue because it was always touch the artwork. You can't, you get the line of sight blocked except when blah, 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 blah. Now we have an agreement for all parties that you can see between 2 hexes. When there's a building here and a building here, if there's a line of sight, you can see through it. And I'm okay with that. I'm not sure if I agree or disagree. I've played it both ways, where you can and cannot see through. And frankly, it doesn't make a lot of difference to the scenarios per se. So I don't care. That said, it is outlined here in detail, and only the most nitpicky of you will get fussy about this. Thermal imaging. So here's that red dot we were talking about earlier on for modern stuff. Obviously, you don't have that in World War II or Vietnam. Okay, itinerant. Okay, itinerant. Itinerant says these examples are great for new players, and he's right, they are. And I'm just giving Itinerant a hard time because he's my buddy. Aren't you, Tug? So let's roll through some of this stuff. More line of it. Look, and so lots of line of sight examples. Look at this with images as well. So no arguing, no confusion, no questions. Just read the rules. RTFM. All right. Hexes within hexes. Now this is something that was never really dealt with in the rules very well at all from my perspective. It was always a module rule somewhere, and you had to pull out, you would go to check line of sight or go to check something, and you look at the line of sight rules, and the bunker or the rooftop or the cave or whatever it was wasn't dealt with. So you'd pull out the module rules, you'd flick through the module rules, it goes, oh yeah, bunkers, that's right, bunkers are different. And then you'd have to deal with the wording. Or, worst case, as happened in the Forgotten Heroes module, the second time it was printed, they just didn't include rules. They forgot. Not the current ownership, prior ownership. Okay, let's carry on. Here we go. We're going through stuff, terrain, whatever. This is all just line of sight stuff, I think, still. Spotting. By the way, just as an FYI, if you're playing this game or you're new to this game, I'll give you a tip. Do not waste your time trying to spot. That's what little half squads are for, and that's what weak units are for. Sacrifice them in an approach to the building, and save your men for shooting, not for spotting. That's my tip of the day. A whole section on single man counters. Leaders and heroes, no doubt, and medics and corpsmen and pastors. Where are the pastors? The padres. They're in here somewhere as well. Armor leaders. Oh, here I love chaplains. That's what they call them. And I love the commissars. The commissars are awesome because I actually played one of these scenarios where we had one of these commissars. I think it was this political officer actually. I think that's for the modern rules. The political officer was like, charge, go forward, and you roll a die and all that sort of stuff, and the soldiers turn around and shot him. It's awesome. It's just a thing. Okay, moving on. Here we go. Nurses, love me some nurse action. Gotta have some of that. Marksman, you know, the dudes that made this module, the French guys, went to town with the specializations for the French. It got kind of crazy, and of course then you have the British. They had to have their pipers. So it's got everything in here, my friends. And this is all stuff like if you're just playing the basic World War II war, let's just say you're playing Vietnam, right? You can skim through all this. You don't need nurses, you don't need pipers, you don't need marksmen, you don't need commissars and stuff like that. You're just going to roll right through all this rules. I haven't had a chance to have a look at this. We're on page 76 now. As you can see, it's still all beautifully laid out here. More amplification, right? Explaining what split hit tables are. This was, I don't believe, was ever defined anywhere in the rules, ever. Now, it's obvious to me, but it's not obvious to everyone. Okay. And split hit, just so now that I've said that, I probably should I try and explain it? I don't really care to. I'm going to keep moving. Okay, target, excuse me, I'm getting tired of talking here. Target acquisition markers. So you shoot at something, you hit it or miss it, as the case may be, you get a TA marker. and you get a -1 on your next hit because you're zeroing in. And then it can go up to a -2 maximum there. ATGMs, that's all modern stuff. You don't really need to worry too much about that if you're a World War II guy. So you would just move on here. And this is, let me see, I skipped a page here, guys. Vehicle. So now we're talking about vehicles specifically, and it's going to get into turrets, facing, and assault movement with vehicles, which is awesome. Overrunning with vehicles, another awesome thing to do. There's nothing like driving an M113 over a little squad of Soviet characters running through the open. I've had that happen to me. Not very nice. Thank you, Pete. Continuous movement stuff. Now this is, what is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's a thing with assault movement, and we kind of just played this anyway. You could move or fire. It didn't matter which one came first, and you could continue that that mechanic into the next turn. And that's what this is here. It's just, it's outlining it. It was an optional rule before, I think. I'd have to check that. Okay, there are 5 comments. Let's check in here real quick. You married a nurse, Mike, you dirty bastard. All right. Yes, I called it earlier on. So Kevin, you obviously got here late. Shame on you. It's a Manhattan. We have Michter's rye, which was celebrating today, so it's more expensive than I usually spend for rye. And I've got some Ramazzotti Amaro, so it's kind of a black Manhattan is what it's called, and then you use, I've got some orange bitters in there and a mandarin peel just for fun. Okay, passengers riding things, you've all done that before. If you haven't, you need to go read the rules. Artillery against infantry, infantry and artillery against vehicles. Fabulous. This is not a lot of change here, which is a couple of amplifications, that's it, and some examples. I want to get up into some of the new stuff here, because you guys have, look, this just goes on and on and on with great examples and diagrams. Look at the size of this picture here. Even all you old bastards will be able to see that. All right. Okay, so this, now, this is something I probably would read, because I struggled with helicopter rules fairly significantly, despite playing with a friend who's played this a lot. We both had challenges, so I'll be actually taking the time to read this alone sometime later on. Excuse me. So 1, 2, 3 examples here, 4 examples of helicopter movement and spotting, because spotting is a little tricky with choppers. You'll need to pay attention. And pardon me, I just had dinner, so I'm still digesting the meat and veg. And there you go. So there's all that stuff. This, oh, here we go. Helicopters versus helicopters. Okay, I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah, I was just thinking, that's a good point. I've never seen a scenario where both sides have helicopters in them, but that would be fun. That's interesting. All right, very cool. Let's see. Where are we at here? Key helicopter information. Okay, what happened here? Helicopters, key helicopter information. This looks like it must be an example. Oh, here we go. I missed this. In-depth example. Thank you. Got it. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, very cool. All right, so that goes on. There's 4 pages right there. 1, more than that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweet. Okay, night combat. I've only played maybe a handful of night scenarios, and you know, they're all good. It doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to me. It just shortens up ranges, and shaking, recovering is a little bit different. Fortresses and stuff, foxholes and stuff, trenches and stuff. Scenario information. Oh, okay. So here we go. So this is new. layout of a scenario. Explains everything for you. Very cool. I'm hoping you guys can see okay. Hey Dev, what's going on, man? Oh, and here we go. Look, so David has outlined the specifics on the rules. Yeah, Marie. Yeah. Having Malay eligibility outlined and called out is great. Good point. Explains what control means. How about that? There's a first. Thank you very much. Is it the hex? Is it the building? Is it both levels of the building and the roof, or just the ground floor? There you go. All sorts of fun stuff in here for this different weapons for different eras. Oh, the fabulous Piat. Let's see if they let the Piat be shot inside. Yes, a unit can fire Piat from a building or a bunker. Oh, because it's spring launched. Silly British. All right, now Claymore example, which goes on for a page and a bit. The Mikes. Love the 40mm underslung grenades. Everybody should have one. Rubber boats. All right, now serious resources. Okay, so now this is all brand new stuff. So look, check this out. This is cool. Video tutorial playlist. So if you're looking as a new player and you've tolerated the first 31 minutes of this video and you've decided that you want to learn more and you've bought the rules and bought a module, you can pick your smartphone up, scan this little barcode doohickey thing, and it's going to take you to a website and you'll be able to watch videos that are done by the Grumpy Gamer, or the Gimpy Gamer, I think it is, and check out his stuff. Little 4-minute snapshot rule set discussions. Fantastic. And, look, see, I told you there'd be an audiobook version, and there is. Trust me, I know this stuff. Okay. Lots of vassal modules, as you know. Of course, there's a solo module, which you've probably seen me. I've played a little bit of that, and lots of other people have played that as well. So that's all good. The compendiums are awesome as well. What? Oh yeah, okay. That's advertising and marketing. Sorry, David, I'm not gonna do all your pimping for you here. You guys can look on the website to buy all sorts of cool stuff. Okay, now here we have an infantry gameplay narrative, and it starts at page 136, and it has everything in it that you need to know. From scratch. And then it has a training scenario here with all the special rules. And it's going to go through, I believe, step by step. Here we go. Turn 1, rally phase, right? Look at that. Operations phase for the Germans. Line of sight checking. Some shooting action going on. See, I use dental floss. That'd be a line of sight there. Just kidding. Okay. Player rate card examples. Look, the whole shoot match. This just goes on and on and on, so that you can follow along, see a game played in its entirety with infantry. Still going. Walks through a Malay for you. Holy cow. They even talk about the rules that are covered. That's impressive, David. They're on turn 3. They're using hero skills and stuff. That's awesome. More pictures. This is fantastically detailed and outlined. I mean, you could set, if you set this up, follow along. You're good as gold here. Then of course you've got the same thing with vehicles. And I don't know that I need to cover this in too much detail. Let's get to see what's up the rest of the, ooh, what is this? Okay, so we're gonna look at one turn here by the looks of it, and they're starting everybody close together. And you're gonna get after it with some setup details and then some impulses, because that's a lot of work. There we go, some shots fired, author's notes. Wow, this is impressive. Now, I'm probably never going to read all of this, so I can't vouch for the absolute 100% accuracy, but David can, and he's on here, so ask him how accurate it is. Okay, so we got some wreck markers going. That means shit has died. Here we go. This is good. Someone worked out what they needed to roll to kill something. Look at that board. Get after it. All right. Artillery. Looks like got some arty coming in here. Fire for effect. And now, here is a set of pages that give you an outline of play. So that will be 2 pages put together here. A fire summary. Oh, look at this. A direct fire damage check reference table. Okay, defender's modified result. So that's going to be, can you see that? Let me zoom in on this. It's pretty cool. Now, David, I guess this is one of the new tables you were talking about. So let's check this out. Now, look at that. I can fold this over. Looks it's a little bit out of focus, but here I've got the attacker's modified result, which is a d6 plus its firepower and any modifiers. And then I've got the defender's modified result, which is a d6 plus any modifiers. And typically they're going to be, terrain based. So let's say the defender had a 4 and the attacker rolled a 5. Well, he's going to have a DC, a direct fire damage check of +1. So if y'all don't like to do math, you don't have to. You can just look it up and go, shoot, I'll get a +6. And then you go to the morale table and you roll for the result. What I do with these, when I'm playing the game as a game play, so I don't lose track of things, you've got kids distracting you and things going on, I roll for each side and I put the number down on the, so here I do this. So there's the Americans, here's the Germans, and then I get the so that's the number I've rolled for each person. So you just roll the dice straight up, right? You roll them straight away. Doesn't matter. If you're gonna fire, right? And then then I go, oh well, let's see. I roll a 5. This dude is in the open, so I'm gonna get a +1. And oh, he's not in the open, but he's adjacent to me. So I'm adjacent, but he's in a building. I'm gonna get, and maybe it's a big heavy building, get a 4. So I rolled 7 versus 8. Well, that's a -1. So I'm not gonna get a damage check. But if it was 7 versus 4, 7 minus 4 is 3. And then I just go, I'm gonna get a +3 check. And then I roll the dice for the, for the check against morale. Anyway, whatever. You didn't need to see that. Let's keep going. I do that because I record stuff and write things down and all that sort of fun stuff. So it helps me. I can take a picture. I know what's going on. There's 16 comments, and I hope that some of those are not directed at me. Let's see. Oh, so here we go. Yeah, Gimpy is great. I'm just trying to scroll back here, guys, so hang on a second. So we're rolling through here. Oh, Jason Smith. So Smith Hills or Smith Hills. There's a whole bunch of modern and near future stuff coming, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Cross fingers. I have 2 topics to share with you, if David doesn't mind. If he hasn't already, I'm still scrolling down this list here. Kyle, yeah, I agree with you, Kyle. I would like to see historical troop allocations and some battles and historical maps. I think that'd be fun. But I don't want Stalingrad with 42 maps and 5,000 counters. What I want is some little small action stuff. Let's see. Kyle said that. Blah de blah. Yeah, but even the hassle stuff, guys. Let's not forget those hassle scenarios. For ASL, they are tweaked and edited and modulated for gameplay balance and for fun, and they are not absolute recreations of history, despite what anybody says. They're just not, and I know that for a fact. So there we go. Lock and Load says they're working on Pegasus Bridge. And okay, yeah, so share away. So Grenada is one of the modern titles that will be coming out. That is basically finished, waiting on artwork, is my understanding. So expect to see the some great scenarios out of that. I think we can all imagine Clint Eastwood hanging out with the boys and getting up and getting at them. So that'll be fun. And then my pet and most excited and interested opportunity for modern is Fallujah. So Fallujah is a project that is near and dear to Jeff Lewis's heart. I think it's Jeff Lewis. Is that right, David? And there's potentially that is being worked on, but it has a ways to go yet. And there was talk at one point of that being able to have a campaign with area movement maps to help facilitate scenarios that would be played. And that to me sounds fantastic. So lots of that. I do know also that at one point there was a chap who was looking at doing a Korea module, but I don't know if they have connected with you yet, David, to do that. They were actually planning on having, for instance, each counter would be a large counter that might take up 2 hexes. Each counter would be a North Korean or a Chinese platoon, and they would take multiple steps of damage, not just 2 steps of damage. So that whole wave attack thing could be worked on. That sounded interesting. All right, we got off track. Back. Ordnance tables. Malay table. Malay results table. Look, it's got color. It's fabulous. And then here we have all of the nifty little sort of summarized rules for all the guys that don't want to read the rules. These are actually pretty cool, and I'm assuming they've all been revised and double checked, because there were a couple of issues with one of the modules that I found a couple of errors in, but I think I let somebody know over at Lock and Load that was the case. But these all should be good. So this, you know, this is the rule book right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pages. This is all you need. You may laugh at me, but this is really all you need. It's not that hard, guys. Bunch of glossary stuff, and then some more indexy things. So index, you want to find out about advisors. Here are all the 16 different places you can find them. Okay, yeah, so Bognazarian, I will ping Pete and ask him to try and get him connected with you. I know that he comes to Austin every November to play games for 4 days with us. Nice. Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks for the update there. So here we go. Index. Look at this. This index is insane. You want to know about bunkers? You can find out about bunkers from page 27, 119, 121, 120. This just goes on and on, so you should be able to find anything you're looking for here with ease. Wow, this is comprehensive, and I don't know who did this, but boy, boy, are you a dude or a dudette. Nice. All the terrain charts are included in here. Oh, I didn't know there were scenarios in here. What is this? Very cool. Okay. I did not know these were in here. Modern era terrain effects. Very nice. Huh. Okay. Are these new, David? I don't recall seeing these before. Weapons cache is definitely new. I don't know that scenario. Now, a friend in need, I think I've heard of that before. Oh, I gotcha, okay. Yeah, L. Davis is a stud. Oh, I see, the starter kit's in here. Look at this. This is insane. You get a map? You get a map and counters. You get two. No, you don't get one map. Okay, I see. That's great. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Wow, I'm kind of blown away. I was ready to give this a hard time because look at this. I mean, that's a beast, right? But once you get playing, if you go straight to the back and pick up off of these things, and then rules reference, you know, get that sequence of play from here somewhere, wherever it is. I don't know where it is, right here somewhere. And just walk through, look at this, and if you don't understand it, look up your rule and get after it. You're playing this game in 20 minutes. I can tell you, as a seasoned wargame player, for the last 5-6 years anyway, that this is a very comprehensive effort, and you will have an easier time getting started with this game than probably any other tactical game that's available in the marketplace today. I'll say that much, all right? I'm not gonna criticize other starter kit style games or any of that sort of business or other systems, but I will say that you should be able to get started with this game system faster and have more fun. And if you aren't cheering and rolling the dice and throwing them across the room and having a blast within 30, 45 minutes, then your wood's wet, dude. All right, that's all I got for you, fellas. Boys and girls, boys and germs. Before I run out of battery, I hope you enjoyed it. It's a 15-minute look at Lock and Load Tactical Core Rules. Brand new, just out. You can buy it on the website. You can download it for free and print all of it, some of it, or none of it, as the case may be. I don't know what the deal is. You have to go work that out on the website. I will be treasuring my copy, and I'll probably have to buy my own additional copy of it as well. You know, one for love, one for usage, all that sort of fun stuff. So all the very best, and thank you everybody for tuning in and watching.